welcome to the Good Stories Podcast. I'm Jody here again with Steven, and today's episode is a little bit different. I think I say that all the time. But today's episode isn't one main story. We are going to talk about Christmas traditions, both ours and some others that we've heard about. But first, our top 5 new download locations. So hello to whoever's listening out there from Monaca, Pennsylvania. I hope I said that right. Cincinnati, Ohio, Rockledge, Florida, Greenbelt, Maryland, and Worcester, Massachusetts. Spelled Worcester, but I lived there for a little bit. It's Worcester. So Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you for listening. But since we've started podcasting, multiple listeners have actually reached out to us to let us know that they found us from listening to our James Herriot episode, All Creatures Great and Small. And if you didn't know, it is by far our top episode. By hundreds and hundreds, actually. But James Herriot, the country vet. So we thought a fun way to kind of wrap up our Christmas time episodes this year would be to talk about Herriot's winter time and specifically Christmas stories. So this one is for all of you that reached out to us about our Herriot episode. And I hope you enjoy some festive Herriot. Time for a story.
Not everyone gets Christmas off work, and this includes country veterinarians of the last century. In his books, James Herriot tells stories about working on these special days. The bad, but mostly the good.
Short and sweet. Good
Short
job.
And sweet. Don't want to give away all the ends of the stories.
So Herriot stories, if you don't know already, Stevie calls them vignettes. That's like your favorite word, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're just little short stories, but they connect through the storyteller, the country vet, James Herriot. And he's wonderful, and there are poignant stories, and there are funny stories. And so we're going to cover a couple of them today. I will tell you, though, brother, I thought there were more Christmas stories by Herriot.
I did, too. I pulled out, so there are 4 main James Herriot books that I grew up reading. All Creatures Great and Small, All Things Bright and Beautiful, All Things Wise and Wonderful, and The Lord God Made Them All, in that order. And I pulled out all 4 of mine and did a very, very thorough scan through all of them looking for the word Christmas. And after doing all that, I actually only came up with 2.
Mm-hmm. Christmas is mentioned in several, and winter is a character in the stories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 2 Christmas stories. Specifically, there is a 5th book that I did not know about, and I learned of it just because I was trying to find if there were more Christmas stories from Herriot. Every Living Thing.
Oh, I have not heard of that one.
Number 5.
There's more Herriot out there for me to read. I'm excited now.
It's good. And there are compilations like dog stories and cat stories, but I think they pull from the series.
Yeah, and I know he did some individual stories that got published, but my understanding was that those had all been kind of edited and recycled and put back into his main books. And so there's another main book. That's exciting for me.
I think so too. So this Christmas story is from the book All Things Bright and Beautiful, and they're printed differently. This is my chapter 20, if you ever want to actually read it. Hey, we line up. That's
Jody
a first.
right now is holding her Kindle, and I am holding my paper copy of All Things Bright and Beautiful. And I agree, it's chapter 20, and my book is page 195.
For future reference, if you're going to podcast, don't use your Kindle. It actually makes it really hard, but I could search for Christmas.
And I actually have these on my Kindle, and I searched for Christmas and then use that to help cross-reference the paper copy. So yes, that is a valuable tool.
So it starts, this was a different kind of ringing. I had gone to sleep as the great bells in the church tower down the street pealed for the Christmas midnight mass. But this was a sharper, shriller sound.
He is so excited about this Christmas. You get the impression this is his first one or one of his early ones. And I didn't realize this, but the way he describes it, he says that, of course, in Scotland he had experienced a lot of Christmases, but there it's almost second fiddle. He said growing up, New Year's Day was the big celebration. And so there wasn't the rush, the thrill, the anticipation of Christmas like there was in Derby where he had come to work.
Yeah, he describes it a flowering of emotions he'd never experienced before. He is feeling the warmth and festivity of Christmas and looking forward to a day off. He never gets a day off. They work all the time, every hour of every day, seems like. But here he's looking at the tinsel on the trees, the snow on the ground, the warmth of the lights outside, and just loving it.
hmm And he describes it as something straight out of Dickens, the good scenes of Dickens, just beautiful and snowy. And there are carolers, and there's people preparing the goose to cook. I mean, it is classic, and he is eating it up.
He's walking home. He says, the snow crunching under my feet, bells clanging, sharp air tingling in my nostrils. The wonder and mystery of Christmas enveloped me in a great wave. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men. The words became meaningful as never before, and I saw myself suddenly as a tiny particle in the scheme of things. I mean, he is just feeling it and going down this path, but he gets to go home. This isn't one of his first in Derby because he's married in this one.
Oh, that is a really good point. Yeah, so he's married, so that even makes it better
Mhm.
because he's there. He gets to go home to his wife, and he gets to go to bed, which again, they get woken up all the time to go out onto the farms and on jobs. But this time, who's going to call him on Christmas? So he goes to sleep.
At 6 o'clock, there is a shrill ringing, and it is different than those church bells that were just delighting him before. A metallic voice, crisp and very wide awake, jarred on my ear. Is that the vet? And he mumbles, yep, that's me. He's like, okay, get over here. Don't take hour long. Basically, hurry up. It's Christmas morning early. Get over here.
There's no Merry Christmas. There's no sorry to bother you, doctor. There's none of that. It's just don't be too long about it. This is Mr. Brown. In all these stories, he puts a name, and often the farm itself has a name or the address. And so this is Brown at Willett Hall. And this does not go well.
That might be your favorite phrase. Forget vignettes.
I'm all about understatement.
The guy doesn't say good morning. I think he points a thumb at the barn. He's like, she's in there. There's a cow with milk fever or something. There's an injection required.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he says that much. I mean, it might just be like the thumb and a shirk of his head to get him to go over to it. So, for those of us who have read a fair amount of Herriot, we know that milk fever is one of the common illnesses of the cows in the Highland Dales here, and it is easily put right. All it is an injection of calcium. So, there's a thought that this is going to be really quick, very fast, but then the guy keeps talking to him, keeps asking him things about the cows and what he's supposed to be doing. This is Christmas morning. He just wants to do the injection and leave, not give a lecture on animal husbandry. But Brown has the vet out, and he's going to ask his questions.
Yes, about feeding. There's no Merry Christmas. No, I'm sorry. That never approaches or never arises here. But suddenly the farmer turns to him and he's like, could it be he was about to ask me in for a nice hot cup of tea? Some hospitality? No. He's like, hey, I've had a few of those cows go down lately. Do you think I'm doing something wrong? So he wants to talk about the animals. And yeah, no mention of Christmas. This farmer is farming.
Yeah. Yeah. Herriot tries to keep this short, says it's quite possible. I hurried toward the car. You know, he's responding in these very brief sentences, but he just can't get away. My hand was on the door handle when he said, I'll give you another ring if she's not up by dinner time.
And there's one other thing. That was a hell of a bill I had from you fellas last month. So he gets a lecture too.
Yeah, absolutely. His wording on this is great. You know, bloody farmers. There were some miserable devils among them. Mr. Brown had doused my festive feeling as effectively as if he had thrown a bucket of water over me.
So his mood is soured now, a little bit.
A little bit.
But he gets back home. Okay, now time for Christmas. His wife meets him with a tray and says, I'm so sorry. There's been another call. You have to go out again. And he's cranky with her.
Mm.
He yells at her. And so then he feels ashamed too. I mean, it's really stacking up on this Christmas morning.
Yeah. He owns it. He owns that it's just not fair. And too often vets' wives, this is the way they're treated because they're the ones who often will give the message of you've got another job to go to. And so he acknowledges that he is not being fair to her.
But this call out is about a nanny goat who is choking. He says, how the heck can she be choking?
Yeah, nanny goats eat everything.
Everything.
But Mr. Kirby is the guy here. And unlike Farmer Brown, Mr. Kirby is somebody who is actually very kind. And he does apologize and say, sorry for bringing you out on Christmas, but I was really worried about my goat. This goat is more than a livestock. This is a pet. He's a retired man, but he keeps goats because he loves them. And this one I enjoy is named Dorothy.
I was going to call it out if you didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dorothy is doing poorly. She is not breathing well, and he's worried that she's going to die.
Yeah, she looks bad, and Herriot sees her when he walks up, says she gulped, gave a series of retching coughs, and then stood trembling, drooling from her mouth. She is miserable and not doing well. And he says, you're right, Mr. Kirby, you couldn't have left her. And this man does apologize for bringing him out.
Mm-hmm.
It says, we went into the pen, and as the old man held the goat against the wall, I tried to open her mouth. She doesn't like it. She tries to bite him, but it says he has small hands.
I do love that he points that out. It wasn't a big mouth, but I have a small hand.
It's a strange thing for a man
I
to
have
claim.
not heard many men claim that. Yeah.
But there's something stuck in there, and he can't figure out why it's stuck, because it's a goat, and it's soft. It should just pass right through. They find out, as he feels around in there, there's something stretchy. It's hooked on her tongue.
Mm-hmm. Underneath the tongue.
So
there's this big, thick, sodden something back in the throat, but this weird kind of firmer band that's hooked underneath the tongue to stop this from going all the way down.
He describes the childlike wailing, the sound this goat makes when he was trying to help it. It's very sad. I'd be a terrible vet. I just feel bad. But he figures out that he can kind of pull on this thing. It's elastic. And as soon as it starts to move, he keeps the pressure on. He brings this thing up. He can finally grab it, pull it out. And it's this feet-long piece of cloth. Multiple feet long, and it's dripping with goat juice. Ugh.
Mr. Kirby seized it and held it up, and as he unraveled the mass wonderingly, he gave a sudden cry. God help us! It's me summer drawers!
Your what?
Summer drawers are underwear. This is the underwear that he wears in the summer. And he even talked about how when he went to pull that band out from under the tongue, it was kind of stretchy and elasticy. It was stretchy and elasticy. This is the farmer's underwear that he wears during the summer when he gets hot. In the winter, he wears full woolen long johns, but that's uncomfortable. And he'd been wondering where these got off to.
I love this. He says, they've seen better days, but I reckon Dorothy's fettled them this time. She ate them off the laundry line. This poor goat.
That's right. And the only reason this was a problem was because it got stuck under her tongue. Herriot talks how he's pulled like bike tires out of goat stomachs and things, and they do fine. It was just that it was blocking the airway. And now Dorothy feels so much better.
The farmer's body began to shake silently. A few low giggles escaped from him, and finally he gave a great shout of laughter. It was an infectious laugh, and I joined in as I watched him. They just have this great laugh on Christmas morning about the goat who ate his underwear.
So the animal is safe. Everything is better. But this is where this starts to get really sweet, because then Mr. Kirby says, but I don't know what I'm keeping you out here for, lad. You must come in and have a bit o' Christmas cake. And so he is invited into this home. And this scene is wonderful. There was two things that really struck me about this scene. One is, well, I'll just read the line. Her husband, meanwhile, was pouring my drink. Yorkshire men are amateurs with whiskey, and there was something delightfully untutored in the way he was sloshing it into the glass as if it was lemonade. He would have filled it to the brim if I hadn't stopped him. Herriot is a Scotsman. He knows his whiskey. And he knows that normally you drink whiskey in fairly small amounts.
A finger.
Apparently the Yorkshiremen never got that message. And so when they hand it out, it is a glass he gets handed to him.
And then, bring cake out for Mr. Herriot, mother, the farmer cried as he rummaged in the pantry. Herriot is given this slab of Christmas cake, highly decorated, and paired with a Wensleydale cheese.
Have you ever heard of this?
Never. And he comments on the delightful pairing. He had no idea before he lived there, but cheese with cake.
I'm intrigued now because I'll read what he says. I took a bite of the cake and followed it with a moist slice of cheese. When I had first come to Yorkshire, I had been aghast when offered this unheard of combination. But time had brought wisdom, and I had discovered that the mixture, when chewed boldly together, was exquisite. And, strangely, I had also found that there was nothing more suitable for washing it finely over the tonsils than a draught of raw whiskey. I may have to try this. That's all I'm saying.
It's a good thing he's an active man. That's what I think. But he's looking at this farmer and his wife. It says, drink in hand, cake on knee, and that their two faces had something in common, a kind of beauty. You would find faces like that only in the country, deeply wrinkled and weathered, clear-eyed, alight with a cheerful serenity. I love that. Just talking about Christmas, the idea of drink in hand and cake on knee, looking at these just benevolent, warm people. Perfect picture of Christmas to me.
Perfect. And they're so kind to him because they ask him, is the radio bothering you?
Yeah.
Because they're listening to Christmas music on the radio. And no, it doesn't bother him. He loves just everything about it. And so this is one of the masterful things that Herriot does with his stories, is he does these comparisons, these vignettes, if you will, where there is, what's the word I'm looking for? Where
juxtaposition.
Yes.
Contrast.
Contrast was the word I was coming with, but those are both perfect. And here we have Farmer Brown, who he sums it up with bloody farmers. And then here we have the Kirby family, where he ends this saying, farmers, they were the salt of the earth.
So that is the end of that one short story from James Herriot on Christmas. And it's funny. I mean, the underwear's hilarious. I'd forgotten it. Cracked me up. Our next one is actually somewhat of a family favorite. So if you've met our EP on any other episodes, my husband David, this is his favorite story that's not the Velveteen Rabbit from when he was a kid. It's called A Christmas Day Kitten.
This one I found in my copy of All Things Wise and Wonderful, Chapter 9. But this is such a good story and such a popular story that it's been published in many other forms and many other sets. So you've got a whole different Herriot book that has this in it, and yours is like illustrated.
This one's beautiful. It's The Treasury for Children, Warm and Joyful Tales by the author of All Creatures Great and Small. And so it's not a specifically Christmas book, but this story is inside of it. It is printed alone as well. It's just a wonderful story. If you ever want to read it to your kids, it's fantastic. It starts, Christmas can never go by without my remembering a certain little cat. I first saw her when I called to see one of Mrs. Pickering's much-loved basset hounds. He throws these names out like you know them. It makes them immediately friendly. We don't know Mrs. Pickering. She's not from any other story that I'm aware of, but here we know her and that she has basset hounds.
And this is going to be wonderful because in the published version, All Things Wise and Wonderful, it's Mrs. Ainsworth.
Really?
Yeah, so none of these characters are the real names. He changed the real names for all the characters. But this is interesting because there's a few differences between my version and Jody's version. Nothing meaningful, but just, again, interesting. Mine actually starts where he is with a bunch of airmen in World War II. He incorporates all his stories when he was in the Royal Air Force, or many of his stories, into All Things Wise and Wonderful. And so the opening chapter is, I had plenty of company for Christmas that year. We were billeted in the Grand Hotel, the massive Victorian pile which dominated Scarborough. And he's there with all these airmen in training. But he says, you would think this would be my most memorable Christmas with that, but it wasn't. My most memorable was this one. And then he launches into what you just read about the kitten.
Does she still have basset hounds?
She does.
Oh, good. Because they're kind of part of the story.
And she loves them. And so this woman, he says, was a plumpish, pleasant-faced woman in her 40s and the kind of client veterinary surgeons dream of. Well-off, generous, and the owner of 3 cosseted basset hounds.
So he's there to see a dog, one of the dogs, but this little cat comes in. And he's like, I didn't know you had a cat. She's like, oh, I don't. Never had a cat.
I see a cat.
Little tiny kitty who just comes in. Now I'm all messed up because she has 2 names. The lady informs him that we don't know where she goes or where she comes from, but she just pops in and the dogs are used to her, but she'll come look at the fire. Mm-hmm. Just amidst these dogs who apparently they're bored with her. They're used to her being around. They don't even get up. This cat just sits and looks at the fire. It says like it's her treat.
In mine, the cat has a name. She names the cat. Do they name it in yours?
Debbie.
Debbie. Yeah, that's consistent. It's a great name for the kid.
It's a very human name. I think a lot of the names in Herriot are for animals are always very human. they pick real names for them. They're characters in their own right. But it says the little cat was sitting very upright on the thick rug, which lay in front of the fireplace, in which the coals glowed and flamed. The 3 bassets were already lying there, but they seemed used to Debbie, because 2 of them sniffed her in a bored manner, and the 3rd merely cocked a sleepy eye at her before flopping back to sleep. It says she doesn't do normal cat things. She doesn't wash herself. She doesn't move. She stares at the fire. This is her treat for about 10 minutes, and then she leaves.
One of the reasons I love this story is it further shows us how much James Herriot just loves animals.
Mm-hmm.
He always does. He's a vet, and so he has to do surgery. He has to put some animals down, but he just loves them, and especially the little ones. He loves dogs and cats, and he keeps trying to pet this little cat, and apparently he has skills. He is good at getting cats to like him.
It's those small hands.
He reaches out his small hand to Debbie, and he's able to, like, very briefly pet her for a moment. She kind of arches into him, but then, like you said, she doesn't do cat things. She's done. She's gone, and she won't stay even for that.
He even watches her go when she heads off across this grassy field, so they have no idea how far she goes. She's always very small, very tiny. But on Christmas morning, so it's been a few months here, Harry gets a call, and this lady's polite. I'm so sorry to bother you today of all days. And he says, okay, which dog? She's like, no, actually, it's the cat, Debbie. Please come quickly.
He drives through the market to her home, and again, he describes it how just idyllic Derby is on Christmas. Driving through the marketplace, I thought again that Derby on Christmas Day was like Dickens come to life. The empty square with the snow thick on the cobbles and hanging from the eaves of the fretted lines of roofs. The shops closed and the colored lights of the Christmas trees winking at the windows of the clustering houses, warmly inviting against the cold white bulk of the fells behind. So just a beautiful, beautiful description, but he's worried because the cat is sick.
It feels like Christmas at this lady's house, and says the house is beautifully decorated and there's smell of turkey and sage stuffing. I mean, it's just wonderful and rosy, except Debbie was there, but she wasn't sitting upright in her usual position. She was lying quite still, and huddled close to her lay a tiny kitten.
Debbie had brought this kitten in, laid it down, and then, went over on her side and wasn't moving, wasn't responding, was just lying there on the floor. This is where Mr. Herriot came in and began his professional evaluation, and it didn't take him long to figure out what was going on. Debbie is dying. Debbie has an inoperable, untreatable, incurable cancer and is really in the last stages.
And the lady asks, is she ill, Mr. Herriot? And her voice trembles. He says, yes, I'm afraid so, but I don't think she's in any pain. Mrs. Pickering looked at me, and I saw there were tears in her eyes. Then she knelt beside Debbie and stroked the cat's head, while her tears fell on the dirty fur. The poor little thing, I should have done more for her. And Harriet is always the sweetest ever. He speaks gently. He says, nobody could have done more than you. Nobody could have been kinder. And see, she has brought her kitten to you, hasn't she?
I've never had a cat before, she said. I smiled. Well, it looks as though you've got one now.
And something I do like about all the Harriet stories is they don't shy away from the fact that things die. Mm-hmm. Debbie dies here, and he's so kind and so gentle with her, but he takes her, they take care of her. And this woman now has a cat on Christmas Day, a Christmas gift.
I love what they named the kitten. This kitten that got dragged in out of the cold, this tiny little waif of an animal, Buster.
He wasn't timid like his little mother, and he lived like a king. And with the ornate collar he always wore, he looked like one too.
Herriot gets to come and see Buster over the course of this next year, but it's really a year later on Christmas. And this is one of my favorite lines from this particular story because it talks about how he always works on Christmas. It says, I was out on my rounds as usual. I can't remember when I haven't had to work on Christmas Day because the animals have never got round to recognizing it as a holiday.
Rude.
But this Christmas morning, it sounds like he's having a great time. All the farmers are nice and they're all feeding him, but he's on his way back home and he's passing the home of Mrs. Ainsworth/Pickering when she invites him in for some Christmas cheer.
He stops to say hi and he loves the smell. It's the same as last year. There's stuffing. He can smell it, But this year, there's no sorrow. There's Buster.
And Buster is a hooligan. He is one of the family, and there's a few different scenes that the lady describes. One is Buster's interaction with the dogs. I think the dogs are over Buster, but Buster loves wrestling with the dogs, and he gets them worked up.
And it says that they used to be to gentle walks with their mistress, plenty of good food, and long snoring sessions on the rugs. This cat just comes and messes with them. But then she takes Herriot outside. This cat can fetch. She throws a ball. It says the dogs have no interest in the ball. They will never fetch. But the cat, he can fetch.
And the lady loves this. She enjoys playing with the cat. She picks him up. She's snuggling with the cat. So Debbie, she wouldn't even let them pet her. Buster, no such issues. He's a snuggle bug and is just beloved in this home.
Yeah, and I like that they remember Debbie, who is a stray. It wasn't even her cat. The lady says Debbie would be pleased, I think. Yes, she would. It was just a year ago today she brought him in, wasn't it? That's right. She hugged Buster again. The best Christmas present I've ever had. It's just so stinking sweet. This stray cat brings her kitten to the one place she knows it'll be taken care of. I mean, it's beautiful.
And he writes that well in the line above. Looking at him, a picture of health and contentment, my mind went back to his mother. Was it too much to think that dying little creature, with the last of her strength, had carried her kitten to the only haven of comfort and warmth she had ever known, in the hope that it would be cared for there? Maybe it was. No, it was.
It was.
That happened.
Absolutely.
That happened. Such a good story.
So those are our 2 Herriot stories.
Yay!
Christmas stories. There are so many Herriot stories, and they're great.
Oh, yeah. We'll do more.
But the other thing, and kind of how I want to tie this in, is we have had a bunch of people actually willing to sign up for our Christmas giveaway. And on my entry form, I had them put 2 things: a Christmas memory or tradition, and their favorite episode so far. So I want to end with the traditions. But I don't think I told you this. I looked through the list of responses of favorite episodes. There are nearly 20 different episodes that somebody said was their favorite.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
And we've only done like 50. So that's quite the spread. And they're not even my favorites. Mine, if you want to know, Beowulf, Farmer Giles of Ham, and probably Man Alive, the Chesterton one. That one was fun.
That one was fun. I have found as I've been listening back through that I'm really enjoying some of the work we've done. But I think right now, if I had to name my favorite, I think I'm going to go with Fantasties.
That was hard. That was a hard episode to do, but very good.
I think it was worth it in my mind. I enjoyed that one very much.
It made me realize how much more there is to it that I don't know about. So it was a dabble, but man, it was good. But yeah, a lot of different episodes listed, which pleases me. It means there's not like one great one out there that's the only good one. No, across the board. So thank you everyone who contributed, because that truly just made my day.
Me too. Thank you very much.
All right. And so, yes, I want to talk about Christmas traditions, brother. And I wanted other people's as well, because ours are probably pretty similar, you and I.
Yeah, they are. But
I
they're
grew
wonderful.
up with you. So.
Well, and our Christmas traditions got locked in pretty early on. There was a little bit of variation as the years went by, but I think the core of it is something we sort of always did. And then I've continued it mostly in my family, and I think you have in yours as well.
Yeah, now I will say this idea for Christmas traditions, it all started with my garbage man. I was putting up greenery. I borrowed greenery from Stevie's woods. I cut some down. I was hanging it up out front when the garbage man came by. And he was just so delighted that I was putting up decorations. He came and personally thanked me. This was before Thanksgiving. And he asked me, he's like, so, what's the best thing you do on Christmas? He wanted to know. And he wanted to share his. And so I think that's a really fun thing. And we've picked up a couple additional traditions, just great stuff other people do, and tucked them in. A lot of people will be like, yeah, we don't do much. We just do this, this, and that. Like, well, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, you've got a list.
So I'll get to those, though. But the garbage man's tradition, just so everybody knows, they, on Christmas Eve, have a family dinner. They read the Christmas story from the Bible, and they enjoy bread bowls with homemade clam chowder.
Excellent.
I have never in my life made clam chowder.
Now I want a bread bowl with clam chowder. That sounds delicious.
It'd be warm. It'd be comfortable. I love it. So that was one. If you find our Christmas traditions piece here a little disjointed, that's because it is. There's so many different ones, and they're very quick in the telling.
Let's hop into ours. So we're going from clam chowder to cheese fondue. That has been our Christmas tradition for as long as I can remember, and I love it. My only complaint about making it our Christmas Eve tradition is that means we don't tend to do fondue for the rest of the year, but I'm working to change that.
Yeah, cheese fondue and Shirley Temples.
Yes.
Which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically 7-Up with cherry juice and the maraschino cherries in it. They're delicious.
Fantastic. And they look so fancy.
They do. Very pretty. And then a lot of people, I think, do some form of one present on Christmas Eve. And we've shifted toward that, and it tends to be pajamas.
This is something I got from my wife's family that I am forever grateful for because it is wonderful. We get a new pair of pajamas every Christmas Eve, and it's great.
Do you match, or is everybody's different?
It tends to be what my wife does for the year. So sometimes it's matching, but more often than not, she gets something that she knows each of us will enjoy.
Mine is random, and I've realized that matching pajamas are expensive, so it depends on the year what we do. I've heard one, a friend of mine just told me the other day that they will get basically 25 kids' books for the season of Advent leading up to Christmas, and they wrap them and put them in a stack. And so each day you can, if you have little kids especially, you can unwrap one a day, and that's your reading. You don't have to spend money on it. Brilliant. Oh.
I have heard in Iceland that's their tradition to give a book on Christmas Eve and you just eat chocolate and read Christmas Eve night.
That sounds wonderful.
I agree.
We've not done that one, but we should.
Might have to incorporate that. Pajamas in a book. That might have to be a thing.
There's not enough time to read on Christmas Eve. That one would be hard. You'd have to be very intentional about making the time.
Yes, that's true.
So I took just a handful of the entries we had, and I really do appreciate people participating. But here's one about tree toppers. This is from Elaine. When I was a child, our family had a fiberglass angel hair tree topper. Every Christmas, our mother wrote the names of our current pets on the back of the angel. We often adopted stray cats, so we have quite a record of cats that came and went over the years.
I love that. That's wonderful.
Man, fitting all the animals on there, especially if the tree topper lasted a while, it would get crowded.
Well, you and I couldn't do this one, not with the cats we grew up with.
We had many, many cats.
At one time, we had 36 named cats. We lived in the woods, and this is a Christmas story, actually. One morning, the 4 children in our family, I can't remember how old I was, 10 maybe, and we heard mewing. Our parents had given each one of the 4 children a kitten, and it was wonderful, and they were fruitful and multiplied. And since we lived in the woods, they would have litters out in the woods that we would just stumble and find. And we spent every weekend for like 3 years at Thriftway just trying to give away kittens that we had. So, yeah, that wouldn't fit on the tree topper.
You told that mostly right. I was 5, and I asked Santa for a cat. And I got one, but so did everybody else. And I was so upset because I wanted one. Not everybody, but mine was the only boy cat.
Mm.
And he was all black. I have a fondness for black cats, but I named him Snowflake. Just to be ornery, maybe. I don't know. But I was 5, so you would have been, what, 8?
Yeah. That would be about right.
So the next Christmas, I asked for a cat again, but only for me. Not you guys. I didn't get one.
Yeah, I don't think you got one.
We had plenty. Here's one from, I'm going to say Lorraine. This is a friend of mine. They have what they call the tree game. So you have to, when trees are sighted out on the roadway, you have to announce it first, and they're very specific rules. I recall this. And the winner each year gets their name written on, I think it's a car with a tree in the back, like a little figurine thing. So the tree game. I've only seen like 3 this year. I also haven't really been looking.
Yeah. You have not been competing.
I would lose. This one's from Terry, and it says, Mary and Joseph start their journey in Advent, and every night they change places until on the 24th they reach the stable. When the kids were small, when they got up, they ran not to the gifts, but to see the baby in the manger.
Oh, that's great. So it's the nativity set.
Yeah.
So the characters in the nativity set get closer and closer?
Yeah, but I really like that. Let's see. Lisa says, picking out a real tree with my children. We get to spend quality time together and make memories. I love doing that. And we go different places each year, turns out. Sometimes, it'll be a couple years in the same place, a couple in a different, but man, that is so fun. And growing up, we had fights about the tree.
It was the one day a year that I knew we were going to be unhappy as a family because we kind of split in camp lines.
Factions.
There were the puffball faction, and then there was kind of the noble fur, more traditional faction. And the two there was no common ground. And it was angst producing.
Half of us were going to be sad.
Yes.
I forget which one. You're in the noble, yeah?
I tend to be more in the noble, but I'm a pushover. And again, I got so tired of the angst that I'll go with anything.
Sure.
You have a vote? Let's do it.
We've done you go out, you get the permit to go into the national forest and cut down a tree. And that's super fun because they're not shaped. I know you've done that just on your property, and it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, that's become our tradition recently, and it's been wonderful because we don't fight about the trees anymore. We just look through our woods until we find one that looks right, and that's what we go with, and it's been great.
I am getting more particular with age about the lights on my tree because I like some white lights, but some colored lights, and some movement, but not all movement. I don't expect anybody else to know or even notice, but it makes me happy. So I do the lights just because I'm pickiest, but I love it. It makes me happy every time I see it. All right. Oh, this is fun. Anna says, a unique holiday tradition that my family has is every Christmas Eve we make bibimbap. Did I say it right?
I don't know what this is.
Oh, she says, it's almost like a Korean taco bowl for dinner and play card games after the Christmas Eve worship service. We lived in China for most of my childhood, so celebrating in America with the Asian flavors we love is such a fun way of keeping our China memories alive.
I love that too.
I have not had bibimbap.
No, but now I want it.
I know. I'm like, where could we get it?
Yeah.
Card games, we play less than we used to, but games growing up were a big part of the holidays. We played one called Michigan Rummy. I don't know if we've mentioned that before. We never gamble or anything. We had like the cheap plastic poker chips that mean nothing, and one year we played with M&Ms. That was a short game.
Especially on Christmas. Sometimes the M&Ms would come out. But then we switched it to where we still used the poker chips and we just ate M&Ms.
I remember one year we were playing cards and the power went out, but we kept playing cards. So we played from Christmas Eve into Christmas. Claimed it was the longest game ever. Were you there? Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yes.
Oh, this one is from Alan. And Alan, he has actually reached out to us several times and is always so encouraging. So thank you to Alan for just all your reaching out that you've done and feedback. Love it. But he sent me some pictures. He creates these festive scenes. One was like Santa's Corner. Very cute. But he says, mailing my Christmas cards, watching Home Alone, reading a new Christmas novel, hanging white winter fur sensicles on my brother's artificial tree. But then you'd have the smell with it. I get it.
Yeah.
Attending Christmas Eve candlelight services, listening to Doris Day sing Christmas songs, decorating my kitchen and dining area with Christmas displays. Oh, that's what I was talking about. But oops, just noticed it says traditional as in one. But that's the thing. They kind of build on each other. I mean, we have several, and even the little ones, they become very meaningful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kyle says, we do what's called in German a Bunterteller, colorful plate, where we bake a bunch of different kinds of cookies throughout Advent. No snacking, lest Mom see you. And put them all on the same plate, enjoying on Advent Sundays and during Christmas tide, assuming they make it that far. It's always a blast and very easy to make into small Bunterteller and distribute throughout the neighborhood. I had not heard that phrase. We do, not nearly as cool of a name, neighbor boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But a Bunterteller, I love that. Had you heard of it?
No, I had not until I read that.
And there's lest is used in a sentence. I don't know that I've ever done that. So well done, Kyle. All right. And this one is from Sherry. It says, it started years, maybe decades ago when my son was little and I was still wrapping presents in the living room late into the night on Christmas Eve. Okay. It was more like into the wee hours of the Christmas morning. Eventually the wrapping would be done and I'd spend time in those quiet hours stretched out on the floor, gazing up at the lights of the tree, and would ultimately find myself just falling asleep there. I love my peaceful time, enjoying the lights and being there to witness the joy on my son's face when he came down in the morning. All these years later, I still look forward to spending Christmas Eve under the lights. Peace and joy. What's more Christmassy than that? Very good.
Can I mention two other traditions that have been important to me?
Do it.
For 3 years, I got to live in the Caribbean with my family, and it's hot. And so on Christmas Day, we would go snorkeling and make snowmen out of sand. And it was just so unusual and so delightful and so memorable that even though that is obviously not a Christmas tradition anymore, since I live in Idaho, it was great while it lasted. And then there's one other Christmas tradition that I did for several years that is now gone, but it really means a lot to me. I could never sleep on Christmas Eve. And my older brother and I, at one point, just decided, yeah, we're not going to do it. Sleep is not going to happen. So let's just stay up and play cards. And so my brother and I would just play cribbage. This was in our high school, college years. And so we would just stay up and play cribbage through the night and talk. And I have such fond memories of that. And the very last time we did it was the Christmas before the both of us got married and started our own families. And I remember that as kind of a almost an ending of my childhood in some ways. And I just want to say thank you, David. That was great.
Oh, that's good. I could sleep. You guys wouldn't wake me up in the morning. It was so mean. We were not allowed alarm clocks on Christmas morning. So that's the discussion even now. What time do you remember? What time do you think we were allowed to wake up mom and dad?
What I have in my head is we were allowed to get up and check our stockings no earlier than 5 a.m. And we couldn't wake up mom and dad any earlier than 6 a.m.
I think it got pushed to 7 eventually. But yeah, I think you're right. But you guys were always up and no one would wake me up. It was rude.
We were always jealous that you could actually sleep. We just couldn't.
I get tired. So something we've done since we moved to Idaho, actually, because we get seasons here typically, we've done sleigh rides in the snow, and that is super fun. Although last year was a mud ride and not nearly as fun, but that wasn't their fault. It was a weird year. But the sleigh ride is very beautiful, and they use the big draft horses, and it's really fun. I have memories of many years where animals were gifts. So the cats were one of them. But I feel like several years in a row, somebody got a puppy.
Yeah, puppies were a recurring gift.
That's hard to do. I've never done a live animal gift.
It takes some planning.
Have you done one?
No, I don't think I have for Christmas. I remember the ones that happened. Usually one of the children in our family was tasked with basically keeping it in their room overnight.
Yes.
And then it got brought out.
So. Lucky them. We have friends who on Christmas Eve, I think it started by accident, but they started a puzzle, like a 1,000-piece puzzle. And like a couple of them just decided after the kids went to bed, like, we should just finish this. So they stayed up all night to finish the puzzle. But I think, like you said with yours with the cards, it's such a time of just visiting and being together. So I guess if you're going to stay up all night, Christmas Eve is the right time.
I agree. Yeah.
Something that our parents always did for us that I still do and I love it, a new ornament each year for the tree. I still have super old ones. And when they break, it makes me sad, but they're really fun to look at. I still put them on the tree, even though they are getting fragile. Do you have any old ones left?
I do. I have several from growing up because, yeah, that was important to our parents. So when we did go and start our own families, we basically received the stash of our Christmas ornaments through the years. And yeah, I still have many of them.
And we always try to put a date on them. Although, again, some of those have rubbed off by now.
Right.
So just in preparing for this, I just asked people what they do. And I was trying to kind of dig back in my memory banks, just comparing notes with people over the years. And a really fun one that I like, it was a man who didn't have a family in particular on Christmas, or I think they had fractures in their family, so they didn't get together. He would go see the Eagles. This time of year where we live, the Eagles assemble. I mean, I've seen 12 in a tree, and they're amazing. And on Christmas, it's really empty, and it's just, that's what he does every year. And I love that, just as kind of a solo himself time and going to see something really beautiful. They gather above the water and then post up in these trees. It's amazing to watch. Have you ever heard people who have solo traditions that they do? We've always done the big family thing, so I don't personally have very many. But
yeah, I don't know that I do. To me, it's always been more family stories than solo stories. So
and reading Dickens.
Reading Dickens. So.
So this one came from my husband. Growing up, well, a bunch of his family is Swedish. just in Heritage, and something they do there. Santa literally shows up on Christmas Eve.
Really?
Yeah, and so he had this whole story about every year Santa would come and he had the full suit on and he'd hand out gifts. He'd come to the door like, knock, knock, come in and hand out presents. And it wasn't until he was in his teens he realized it was Uncle Larry. You see what you want to see there, I guess. Another one along those lines, they do cardamom coffee.
Yeah.
So you've had that with us now. Do you like it?
I love it. So Christmas morning, that's one of the things. So my family, after we do our morning presents, things like that, we come over to Jody's house, and there is always cardamom coffee and other delicious things. And yeah, so to me, the cardamom coffee, when I was in Egypt, that's a big flavor, and it's in the coffee over there. So I love it as a Christmas thing, but I have memories of the Middle East. Yes, I really like it.
There's a story Dad told me once that when he was growing up, they had a big family, but his mom loved animals. So there's always cats around, and they'd mess with the tree. So she'd always put the tree in the baby's playpen to keep it safe from the cats, because it wasn't as useful for the baby necessarily, but it kept the tree safe from the cats.
You do what you got to do.
I like that one. So our dad, at least he used to really enjoy like sneaky wrapping. Did you ever get a sneaky gift, like wrapped gift from Dad?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
No, but yes. He's an exceptionally good rapper.
He is, yeah.
His rapping looks just spot on and sharp. But yeah, he's got a sense of humor, and so sometimes it comes out in funny ways.
I got a ring once, and he thought it was going to be awesome because he put it in a huge box with the styrofoam popcorn, and he put it around one of them. But I opened it inadvertently from the bottom first. So it was like right there. Oh, I think he was really bummed because he worked hard on it.
Thought there was going to be digging involved.
Down to the bottom, yeah.
Do you remember it became a thing to do like a gift scavenger hunt? Somebody was given like a computer or something one year, and there was this elaborate multi-stage like riddle going through the house. And it was a single-wide mobile home, so it's not like it was a big house, but it was a thing, and that was fun.
I don't think that was at our house.
We did it again at our aunt's house.
Oh, okay.
There was a different one.
I think I was young enough. I didn't understand it. There was all these riddles. They made riddles, and they were clever and complex. I really had no idea what was going on. So you probably remember that one better than I do. One of the coolest things that we meant to make a tradition, and it hasn't stuck, is we went hiking once years ago in the snow. Just an easy day hike, but it happened to be snowing. And someone had decorated a tree along the trail. It was beautiful. It even had the battery lights, so I think they must have gone each day and turned them on. Mm-hmm. It was so cool just to happen across when we were out there. And they were good citizens, and they went and took it down after Christmas, so it wasn't just left all year and looking raggy. It was so cool. We tried to do it a couple times, but having to go back each day, it took a lot of work.
Right.
But thank you to whoever did it, because I loved it. I thought it was great. All right. I have one more main question for you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Does Santa Claus wrap things in the stockings or no?
In our house, he does, largely.
Everything or some things?
Pretty much everything.
Okay. Yeah.
That was not the tradition I experienced Santa in our home growing up. That was the cool thing about the stocking, was it's just there.
Free for
what's
all.
In the sock.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've seen very different practices depending which home he's giving gifts out at.
Oh, yeah. For us, he does. And it's not Santa. It's my husband. He likes to watch people open their stockings. So we take turns. It's not a free-for-all. It's a very orderly event, which is strange to me still. And we've been married like 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. Our stockings are it's like growing up. The stocking was the free-for-all, and then the opening of the gifts under the tree was the orderly event.
So there were 4 of us kids growing up. And one of the best things my mom ever did was there was always a code. It drove me nuts.
And sometimes she remembered it.
Yeah. She did get it wrong some years, but it got sorted out. But I loved the code. I tried to figure it out, like anticipate what the code could mean. So these were gifts wrapped under the tree, so they didn't have your name. You wouldn't know ahead which ones were yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like a number or a letter or something. And yeah, sometimes she forgot it. She's not going to like that you mentioned that.
Sorry, Mom. They were great, though. We loved it.
I did love it, and I do it now. And it is the coolest thing ever. It's so fun. And like the kids like to think about it, and they can't get as grabby about it. They're more interested in the code a lot of times than the actual gifts themselves, which I like. I love giving gifts, but it's not the point. I love the code. Highly recommend. It's an easy thing to do, but write it down somewhere so you know who's who. Mine are getting tricky, though. I had to do a combination of letters last year, and I had to do several different ones.
Right, permutations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, it is much easier to remember a code with 2 kids than with 4.
Well, if you get it wrong, you got it all wrong.
The only other thing that really did attain tradition status that I can remember in our family was the lineup of movies we were going to watch Christmas Eve before bed.
Absolutely.
This was of vital importance. And so the lineup that I remember that we eventually settled on was Grinch, Charlie Brown, Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, and then it's bedtime.
I still watch Christmas Eve on Sesame Street every year. Occasionally, I don't get it in on Christmas Eve itself, which is the correct time, but in the neighborhood. I mean, that is part of why we started doing Christmas Adam, so I had the time to actually watch the movies that are important to me right before the holiday.
Yeah. Now, you just mentioned a term, Christmas Adam. I don't think we've described that yet this show. Can you explain what Christmas Adam is?
Oh, sorry, that came up in, last time? Dickens, maybe. So Christmas Eve is the day before Christmas, but in the Bible, who came before Eve? Adam. So it's 2 days before Christmas is Christmas Adam. And yeah, for us, we watch movies and have a simpler dinner because, typically you're getting ready for the holiday. Christmas Eve is fondue. Christmas Day, we do the brunch, and then, I don't know. I don't think we eat later on Christmas.
Mostly it's just the candy and leftovers.
Yeah.
That's the Christmas tradition in our home.
And then, not a Christmas tradition specific, not Christmas Day tradition, but the day after Christmas is the Feast of Stephen.
I do love the Feast of Stephen. I am, of course, Stephen, so this is my name day. And I love the song Good King Wenceslas, which takes place on the Feast of Stephen. So we have developed a bit of a tradition, which mostly is an excuse to, again, get together and have fun.
Bring me meat and bring me wine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is how the song goes. Good King Wenceslas. That's hard to say. But I feel good that this was, I believe, my idea to make it a thing. Did you do it before I printed the poem for you?
Probably not. I'm trying to remember when I started, and I think that probably was from you.
I do enjoy the Feast of Stephen, and it sounds like we eat a lot, but you take breaks in between.
And we do eat a lot. Let's be honest.
It's true. I don't know. Christmas Day requires a nap, in my opinion. I know there's some people who you stay awake because it's Christmas. You have to savor it, and that's fair. I take a nap. It makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yes. Yeah, we're nappers too.
All right, last one that I personally love is any form of a countdown chain or an advent calendar. I mean, we do our advent reading on Sundays and light the candles, but like a daily chain, like a paper chain, fantastic. If that's all you have, all good. Sometimes we'll have 3. And then we also have the little doors and any form of them. They're just great. Do you do those?
Most years we do. I don't think we do this year. My daughter has actually been a little bit disappointed because we haven't gotten her an advent calendar thing.
I would make you a 10-day chain.
I think we do have a chain at the house. So.
Okay, good. Man, I keep coming up with more. Candy canes on the tree or no?
Yes.
Okay. The one that comes to my mind now is cereal boxes on the tree.
Oh, that was special.
I do not remember a time when that didn't happen. Do you?
No, that has always a part of my childhood Christmas.
They're the little ones, and I used to wonder where they even find them, but now I occasionally see them. But they're 3 inches tall, and you hang them on the tree like they're ornaments. Santa always puts them up. He also sets up the train at our house, but cereal boxes on the tree.
And it solved the problem of what you eat for breakfast on Christmas. the cereal boxes. And they were fun because since it was like a sampler, you got to do stuff that we would never buy.
Golden Grams.
Yeah, or like Golden Smacks, or all these different ones.
I did not care for Golden Smacks. Golden Grams. Those were the only time. It was if Grandma bought them like once a year for Christmas time on the tree.
Yes.
Okay, so one more memory and tradition that I want to share actually comes from our giveaway winner. Yay!
Yay!
So her name is Meredith. Meredith, I'll reach out to you, and I have a super fun, well, I hope you think it's a super fun box. I have a box that I've been trying to make fun to send to you. This is her memory and tradition. I really like it. She says, something I love to do around Christmas time is to make Christmas candy, pralines especially. Every year growing up, we had a hasty Christmas morning at my house, and then Dad would take us 4 kids on a 5-hour drive up to my grandparents' house up in North Texas. We stayed at their tiny house for several days with my cousins, and my grandparents went all out with Christmas decorations. But the real magic were my grandmother's desserts, which she usually had on display when we first arrived. Pralines, peanut brittle, little snowballs of powdered sugar-covered pecan shortbread cookies she called sand tarts. I get why. It's a very long title. Dried fruit cookies, suspicious-looking mincemeat pie. The works. It was pretty much heaven for a kid. Now I've taken over the role of Christmas candy and dessert maker for my family, and pralines are my absolute favorite. I make them for neighbors, friends, staff at my kiddos' preschool, and I even brought a Ziploc bag of them to the pharmacy today when picking up meds for my sick kid. I reassured them that the kids did not help me make them, of course. Baking is my love language, and I love spreading that joy and sharing the memory and taste of my Christmas past with others. Excellent. I love it. I, too, enjoy to bake. Never pralines. Oh, how do you say it?
I think it's praline.
I'm going with praline. Never those. But I don't know. There was a lot of treats as part of our Christmases growing up.
Yeah.
Which were your favorites?
Fudge.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay.
I'm highly predictable, and I love fudge deeply.
I think sugar cookies were always the ones I really wanted to be able to decorate beautifully, and they always came out horribly. So huge props to people who can actually frost a sugar cookie well.
That is a talent. It is amazing what work some people can do on that. I've seen some stunning ones.
We had funny ones like Cathedral Windows, which is a very grandiose name for colored marshmallows and chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And of course, the sugar cookies, frosted sugar cookies, were our dad's favorite. Yeah. So those always made an appearance. And then there were things like the Christmas spreads, which you still make and are still wonderful.
So that came later. I don't remember. We didn't do Christmas bread growing up.
Not quite the way you do it now, but Mom would make them and give them to like teachers and things.
Hers are very different. Stevie, come on. Hers are candy cane cakes.
Candy cane cakes. I'm sorry. I'm getting the names wrong.
And they have like maraschino cherries and the dried apricots in them, but they're like a sweet cake and very pretty. And then, yeah, when I got married, I think my husband's grandma used to make them. What we call Christmas bread, but it's basically like a cinnamon roll, not in a roll, but with cardamom in it. Mm-hmm. So cardamom in the coffee, cardamom in the cake or in the bread.
It's excellent.
It is good.
Yeah.
So thank you, Meredith, for participating. You are our winner. I love your memory and tradition. So keep going with the pralines. You know, they sound amazing.
Yeah. Congratulations. Jody and I were talking about how to end this particular episode, and we were talking about some different poems that can be read. And then she said, well, we can always do Tolkien's Noel poem. And I said, Noel poem? I don't know this one, so I'm going to hear it for the first time right now.
So I think it was published 1936, so that's before The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I think it was just in a collection of poetry and writings. I'm shocked you haven't heard of it.
No, I don't know this one.
Okay, well, you haven't done the complete works of Tolkien yet?
He wrote a lot.
He wrote a lot, and the
Most
letters.
of it unpublished.
All right. Grim was the world and gray last night. The moon and stars were fled. The hall was dark without song or light. The fires were fallen dead. The wind in the trees was like to the sea, and o'er the mountain's teeth it whistled bitter cold and free, as a sword leapt from its sheath. The Lord of Snows upreared his head, his mantle long and pale. Upon the bitter blast was spread, and hung o'er hill and dale. The world was blind, the bows were bent. All ways and paths were wild. Then the veil of cloud apart was rent, and here was born a child. The ancient dome of heaven sheer was pricked with distant light. A star came shining, white and clear, alone above the night. In the dale of dark, in that hour of birth, one voice on a sudden sang. Then all the bells in heaven and earth together at midnight rang. Mary sang in this world below. They heard her song arise, o'er mist and over mountain snow, to the walls of paradise. And the tongue of many bells was stirred, and heaven's towers to ring, when the voice of mortal maid was heard, that was mother of heaven's king. Glad is the world, and fair this night, with stars about its head, and the hall is filled with laughter and light, and fires are burning red. The bells of paradise now ring, with bells of Christendom, and Gloria, Gloria we will sing, that God on earth is come.
And with that, we'll turn the page, and we hope you join us for the next chapter.